Welcome to lesson 8.3. Today we're going to be learning about box plots. Sometimes you'll hear these called box and whisker plots. Here's a definition of a box plot. It's a statistical graph that shows the distribution of the data by using these 5 boundary points. So the median, of course, is the middle score. That would break the data into 2 halves. And then we have this first quartile and second quartile, and that breaks the data into 4 equal parts. So this is 25% of the data here, and this is another 25% of the data, and this is another 25% of the data, and this is the top 25% of the data. And so that's how we break it up. But let's do one. I think you'll see and understand it a little better if we do an example. So some people caught a bunch of fish and measured them. Maybe they were biologists or something. And we wanted to organize our data and see how the data was spread out. So the first thing we need to do is take the data and put it in order from least to greatest. Now 7 is the smallest value I see, and I just check them off as I do it. We have another 7 there. We can go right through the list. Looks like a 9 might come next, and then it looks like another 10. And another 10, there they are. And keep going till you've got all the data organized. And as a double check, I look at this, looks like I have rows of 5 or columns of 5. I have 3 of them, so I have 15 numbers. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've got 15 data points, so I got them all. Notice if a number was repeated, I wrote it. So 13 is up there 3 times. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the median or middle value. There it is, 13, that's right in the middle, and that breaks my data into 2 halves. There's this lower half, and there's this upper half, okay? Now, within the lower half and the upper half, we're going to find the middle of those sets. So on the lower half, I've got 7 values, so the middle is right there. That's the middle of the lower half. And then I have in the upper half, I have right here is the middle of the upper. And then the other important values are the minimum, the smallest, and the maximum. Okay? So now I'm going to come down to my number line, and I'm going to put dots at each of these main points. So I have a dot at 7, and I have a dot at 10, and I have a dot at 13, and I have a dot at 15, and I have a dot at 22. And then I'm going to draw a box around what we call the middle 50% right here. So there's my box with a line going through the median. And then I draw lines out to the minimum and to the maximum. Those are my whiskers. Okay, and this just shows you that 1/4 of the data is right there. Then we have another 4th and another 4th, and then the upper part is really spread out. Okay, a lot of spread on the upper 25% of the fish lengths. Some quick terminology. We have the first quartile, and then the second quartile, and then the third quartile, and finally the 4th quartile. That word quartile sounds like quarter, right? Or 1/4. Each of them are 1/4 of the data. So picking those values out of my ordered list was pretty straightforward in the last example because there was an odd number of values. So there was a true median. You didn't have to do any figuring. But in this case, now we have an even number of data points. So let's see what we have. First thing we need to do is put our numbers in order from least to greatest. There they are. And I counted up. There should be 12, and there are. And now I need to find the middle. Okay, and here we have the middles right here. So just like we did with median before, you find the middle of the middle, right? So we're going to do 25 plus 35, which is 60. We'll divide that by 2. We get a middle value of 30. So that's my median. And that actually breaks up my numbers into 2 parts. And the median is in between 2 of the values in the set. Every value in that set is now part of the lower half or the upper half. Well, we're going to look for the middle of the lower half next, and it's going to be right here. And that value is going to be 15 plus 25 is 40, divided by 2 is 20. Okay, and then the middle of the upper half is here.
So I got to do 45 plus 50, and I get 95. If I take 95 and divide it by 2, I get 47 and 5/10. There's the middle of the upper half. And of course the maximum and the minimum are still pretty straightforward. Now we just need to plot our values. And putting them on my graph, there you have it. Box and whisker plot. All right, here's a box plot to go ahead and interpret. We have bags of donated clothing, right? And the smallest amount donated was 8 pounds. The largest was 20 pounds. The median looks like it was 17. And the middle of the upper half is 18, and the middle of the lower half is 12. And that breaks that up into quartiles, right? We have the first quartile, we have the second quartile, we have the third that's really squashed together, and the fourth quartile. And we have some true or false questions on this. I'd like you to give those a try. Here we go, we have some straight up practice, right? We have Sarah's scores on a test, and we want to order the data and then provide the minimum, maximum, median, the first quartile, and the third quartile. This again is the, just so you remember, this is the middle of the lower, and the other one is the middle of the upper half. The values are plot it on the box plot, and we'll see how you did. All right, take care.